Hi there, everyone. Scott and Lars back with another review and analysis for Sanda. Episode 5 brought to you by Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors by novice authors, and because writing is an adventure is way more fun with friends. And if you are going to get stuck indoors during a typhoon for the next 2 to 3 months, do it with the people you love. Aww. Not with the guy who wants to rip out your heart and put his own 90-year-old heart into your chest. Oh, I feel awful just saying that.
So creepy. The principal's just creepy in the first place.
Oh, man, the principal's so messed up. So messed up, though we don't get that much of him in this episode.
Yeah, we got a lot of other stuff. Like there was some serious plot progression in this episode, and some like quote unquote plot progression, kind of.
The plot. Oh, yes. There was lots of plot being thrown around. Okay, well, let's dive into the plot. And no, not in that way. Not in that way. So we get to pick up with Subarou, who is with the other members of the Saint Nick Hunter Squad, whatever. And they're all complaining that they still haven't yet caught Saint Nick. And they're like, come on, man. We know that you've got some information. It's like, hey, if I had any, I'd let you know. He's like, I'm not letting any of this juicy details go. I'm going to catch this Santa my way. Which we get to see what his way kind of is later, which is pretty great. It's one of those moments that kind of endears you a little bit more to this guy. But one of the crazy things going on in the world of Sanda is that now we've got 2 to 3 month long typhoons. Everyone's got to stay indoors as this constant storm is ravaging Japan. And you thought the people on Roshar had it bad, but it locked indoors. Sanda's going kind of a little stir crazy, especially as he's trying to balance out Santa with himself. And one of the ways that he decides, I'm just going to commit to Santa. He decides the way he's going to do that is by breaking off relations with his fiance, Miko, a girl who we've seen in the background before, but we haven't really been properly introduced to until this time. When he's got a cleaning evening with her, he's going to confront her. But the thing is that she is just being so wild and carefree and chaotic that he's not able to really get in a moment, have a chance to tell her what he wants to tell her. She rushes out into the typhoon, and he follows her. He follows her for a variety of reasons. One is just the boyish impulse. Another is to try to end this relationship. And another, he's worried about her. But under a tree, as they're getting soaked and lightning is flashing, she is like, wow, I didn't think you would do this. You know what? You've got my attention, Sanda. I think I'm going to keep you around. And Sanda's like, no, I need to break this off. Wait a second. Puberty is telling me I should stay. And so a relationship begins to actually blossom between the two of these characters. Is it romance? No, it is not. These are two 14-year-olds being dumb and really awkwardly flirty by sending poop messages to each other or kicking each other. This is dumb young flirting. And yes, this is actually a thing. And this gets Fuyumura's attention. Fuyumura realizes that Nico's spending way more time with Sanda, so she goes to confront Nico. And Nico's all like, so, you're also interested in Sanda. Because Fuyumura's like, you stay away from my Sanda. And you have this great moment of miscommunication and misunderstanding between the two of them. Nico thinks that this is a hot moment to have a love triangle, which just makes Sanda even better in her eyes. Oh my gosh, a love triangle, so steamy, and I will have him at the end. Oh, this is so hot. Fuyumura is like, he's Santa, and I need Santa for so many reasons. So no, you do not get to take Santa away from me. Meanwhile, someone does show up to take away Santa, and that is Subarou. Subarou has gotten himself in as one of the faculty members. He is in cahoots with the principal, but the principal is pulling a really dirty trick right here. He's like, okay, you will catch Santa. And if you don't, by the time that this storm has receded, I will put my old man's heart into your chest and basically turn you into an old man through this ancient ticker. It's really, really disturbing. It's one of the most disturbing parts in the manga, in my personal opinion. So Subarou is put in as the new PE teacher, and he uses this as an opportunity to single out Sanda, get him alone, so that way he can have him transform into Santa. They're about to have a fight, and the moment that Subarou throws a punch, Santa is back to Sanda. He just socked a kid. He's like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for punching a kid. Okay, and so he's there with Amaya, and two people, for their own reasons, trying to figure out how to turn Sanda back into Santa. And while that's happening, Fuyumura is confronted by Ono. Ono is not dead. We learned that Nico is the one who lied about it because she was like, oh, I knew I was going to get a rise out of you. I know that Ono's not dead. Now, what exactly led Nico to believe that, we're not really certain, at least as far as I understand. But Ono shows up. Ono comes to Fuyumura in the washroom where she normally would be all alone. So it's the perfect time for them to meet on up. And we come to find out that Ono was crushing hard on Fuyumura, pulls her on down. We get the forbidden Yuri moment, and we also get a flashback to why Ono left. It is that Ono was terrified of growing up. And this is, I have to admit right here, this is where I misunderstood things from the manga. I thought it was that Ono wanted to grow up, but that's absolutely not the case. She wanted to remain young forever with Fuyumura, so she could have Fuyumura all to herself. But then after a fantastic wet dream, she woke up and found herself now a teenager. And so she fled. Now she is back, ready to commit a murder-suicide pact in order to keep Fuyumura young forever. And Fuyumura's like, no! I need to tell you what Santa told me. It is okay to grow up. And right as she says that, the principal is looming there right behind her. Bam, bam, bam!
Oh man, there's so much implications for what happened in this episode. Like, and I love how we're getting so much character progression from all these different characters. Honestly, my favorite this episode was Subarou. He's like, you're supposed to be the bad guy. Why are you commiserating with these kids?
He's a man of principle. He does things his own way.
Well, and he has a goal, but he's like, yeah, I don't feel bad. Like, I feel too bad, like, punching anybody but Santa. Like, I have to be able to make this right. And, like, the guy's got the world, like, riding on his shoulders. He's like, I do not want that messed up heart, like, at all. And the principal's cruel taskmaster for making that the punishment.
Yeah.
That is
so
nightmare material. Oh, man, I would not want to be in his place. Thankfully, I'm not. I'm just watching from the outside. I love his character progression. We finally get to understand why Ono disappeared. Like, this is something that's been on our minds since episode 1. This is Fuyumura's big goal, is to find Ono again. And technically, she didn't even need Santa Claus for that to happen. Like, she ended up running after a complete myth to, like, find Ono again, and she didn't need it. Like, why is our boy here? But, like, we're finding out more and more why this is important, like, as it's going, because all these characters matter. All these characters are, like, building on top of each other. I love how we finally get to see Sanda be a kid, because, like, he's being pulled into all of this crazy stuff against his will in a lot of cases, and a lot of the Santa Claus stuff is taking over, and finally having the chance to just be himself, I think, is probably super healthy for him, at least for a little bit, especially after last episode when the expectations and everything that was being put on him, like, pretty much near crushed his soul. Mm-hmm. And Fuyumura made it completely worse, and she's still writing on that in this episode too, especially when she confronted Nico. But, like, having Nico, who is, like, super carefree and all about having fun, and, like, willfully causing trouble just for the fun of it, it's perfect counterpoint to Fuyumura, who's all doom and gloom and, oh, I don't like this, I'm gonna blow it up kind of idea. So it's interesting to see that. But then you have Fuyumura full on going in trying to tell Nico to give up Sanda, and Fuyumura's not after Sanda the same way Nico is. At least Nico understands what like her and Sanda's relationship actually is, and she's like, I just want to have fun until I'm an adult, and I'm gonna keep pushing for that. And I love her. Like, the only time we see her out of uniform, we see her in this odd yellow shirt with some kanji on it, and it just says Jubun, and it just says just enough right across her chest. And I'm like, that's a funny joke, but it's also an interesting metaphor for like what's going on in this situation where Nico is just enough to help Sanda like be a kid again, and it's like it's perfect. Like it's all it needs to be.
And I want to talk a little bit about this particular scene actually, because this was a very fun inversion of something that I think we've now just taken as a commonplace in a lot of anime, especially ones where there's lots of girls after the same guy, where it comes down to who has the biggest bust. And they throw it around, they mash it on up. Maybe the main character even gets stuck in the middle like an MC sandwich. But in this case, Sanda's not there, and you have two 14-year-old girls who are just hitting puberty. The development ain't there. And so rather than it being, oh, who's got the biggest chest? Ha ha! Like, as you said, the kanji right there, the little kind of, it's a little bit of a joke. It's playing off of, she's young, she's not filled out, but she's just enough for Sanda. And it's a fun inversion, again, of something that is a typical trope, where instead of the girls throwing around their assets, they're throwing around their actual position of, this is why Sanda means something to me. This is why Sanda means something to me. Sure, there's still miscommunication going on there, because Nico thinks this is all romantic, and Fuyumura cannot communicate for various reasons, some practical, some personal, why she needs Santa, who is in Sanda. And so you've got these two opposing positions, and in a way they're both valid. Nico wants to have a guy that she can crush on and like and have a boyfriend. Sanda can fill that role. And Fuyumura needs a healthy adult figure in her life. And Santa can fill that role. And so there's a genuine good argument happening. It's not about the assets. It's not about the plot. But instead it's actually about the real plot of the story. And I like that.
Yeah, I really like it too. Nico is a very fun addition, and I'm sure it's going to add some interesting nuance to the story going forward, because we're getting another view of one of these kids stuck in the same school situation that the rest of the characters are, and she's got her own way to deal with the craziness that's going on. She may not be fully aware of some of the craziness that's going on, but like she definitely has her own way of dealing with it, and honestly, good for her.
And I was talking about this before we began recording, but I feel like Nico is one of the few characters thus far in the series that I can actually understand, because she feels far more like an actual teenager. Granted, in a bad situation, just like all the others, but she makes a little bit more sense. She's not quite as damaged or as twisted as the others are by the programming that the principal has put onto all of them. And so she not only then becomes kind of a grounding figure for Sanda, but she actually starts becoming kind of a grounding figure for the rest of the audience. That this feels at least somewhat more natural and expected. And it comes across as good. Now, granted, within the story of Sanda, there's a lot of nuance going on. There's no such thing as pure black and white. There's a lot of gray, and Santa is the one who is supposed to, through his own experiences, find out the right way versus the wrong way in a very sticky, convoluted situation.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I find interesting, and it's not fully explained why Sanda loses the ability, though I do know we're going to get that answer in the next episode. We're definitely going to be able to talk about it in the next episode, and there's some fun stuff this next episode that's going to happen. But why, like, Sanda can't turn into Santa Claus, and I think part of it, one, it's like all the pressure that's involved, it's his own worries, and he's not being looked at just as like a kid looking at Santa Claus. There's other like nuanced, interesting like connotations going on at the same time that's affecting him. And until he gets his like mind straight and able to figure out like what's he needs to be working towards, it's going to be like something he's going to struggle with. But and I imagine that's going to be an issue entire story long.
Say, there's no easy answer or solution to the predicament Sanda finds himself in. And there's a lot of growing up that needs to happen and a lot of stuff that needs to be figured out because, and I'll just point this out, it might not seem like that big of a deal. It's just more like the dressing for the scene. But the fact that there is a 2 to 3 month long typhoon going on, further evidence that this world is so incredibly messed up. Climate change has wrecked it. Winter is no longer cold. Storms come and they are here to stay, and they're absolutely devastating. And this might also help to explain why the population situation in Japan at this time is so bad. It's not just simply, oh, people didn't feel like having kids, but that there are serious weather implications along with so much else. And the environment that people are raised in absolutely will help to determine a lot of the things that people are worried about and how they form their society, and thus the goods and the ills that come with that. And this episode in its own subtle way just reinforces how screwed up things are. And if we get two brilliant bookends to this, we have the typhoon at the beginning and the principal showing up at the very end, just ominously, with it where Fuyumura has an excellent message reiterating what Santa said, that it is okay to grow up, which is a beautiful thing to tell someone. Like, I'm all for kids should be kids as long as possible, but there does come a time where you need to mature, where you need to grow up. That is absolutely the case. But these kids are living in a society, and especially in a situation at the school, where that's not okay. And Ono has feared this. Ono's getting ready to off herself and take Fuyumura with her because of this fear. And so it's the right message, but that message is countered by the ominous specter of this all-powerful principal who controls the whole situation, who's even able to make a total badass like Subarou feel scared for his own life.
Right. Oh man, the principal is like, we've talked on and on about like how messed up his ideals are, but like the fact that he's like threatening to punish these kids for something their body's naturally going to do, and doing everything he can so they don't grow up, so their bodies don't actually grow properly, so they stay younger longer, is messed up in so many ways.
Oh, absolutely. And we see this through Ono. Like, Ono is obviously a victim of this, with how terrified she is of growing up, so much so that she up and left. And the way that she's unable to healthily process her feelings for Fuyumura or the situation. Growing up is not a bad thing. Puberty sucks. We've been through it, but it's not the end of the world. It's the beginning of something new. And as we see with Nico, if you have the right kind of attitude towards it, it can also be something very liberating.
Yeah.
But the environment that the principal has cultivated absolutely has done Ono a disservice and has destroyed this young girl, so much so that, when the body does what it's supposed to do naturally, you're going to feel attracted to people. You're going to feel a certain way. You might even wake up a certain way, that she feels awful about this. That's not okay.
And this is something we're going to get into next episode. I know for sure she's still a kid. Like, even with all of these changes going on, her, like, the way she's, like, the dreams she has, the wishes she has, like, what's going on with her, it still influences the Santa powers. And we'll see that next episode. It's something for everybody to look forward to, because like
Mm-hmm.
it's subtle. It doesn't outright state it, but like it's a great way of showing that like Ono is just the same as everybody, all these other kids. They're still just a kid.
Still just a kid. And on that topic, on that topic, I want to address the whole Yuri scene, and not to be all like let's fetishize it, like I've seen so many people do online, or to be like no, not in my good Christian household. We will not have this. Which shall not stand, or to try to find some kind of way of invalidating the scene. I've seen all of this kind of discourse online. Instead, I actually want to bring up why this is so important, and
Mm-hmm.
especially for a character like Fuyumura,
Yeah.
because this is just the way that Ono's feeling, given the situation that she's grown up in, and the proximity that she's had with Fuyumura. And there's, I mean, let's be honest, there's good qualities about Fuyumura to fall for if you're a young kid. So, have at it. The thing is that Fuyumura doesn't reciprocate immediately those feelings of like, oh, I love you too, Ono, and let's make out, Ono, because for Fuyumura, she's still just a 14-year-old underdeveloped girl,
Mm-hmm.
underdeveloped mentally and emotionally. She's much taller than everyone else. She's got a slightly stronger build. There will be those people who are going to be like, oh, could she be trans? That's not the conversation that needs to be had here. In fact, the conversation that needs to be had is Fuyumura doesn't fully understand who she is, and it cannot and is not given the opportunity to understand that, because she's just being forced to be a perfect young kid, whatever that exactly that means, and just put into such a weird environment, a sleep deprived environment, as we come to learn. She is not in any healthy place to understand or reciprocate those feelings. What Fuyumura does understand, though, is my best friend is back. I care so much about her. I want her to stay here. And if she's scared for whatever reason, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to rip away that fear. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a very kid thing to do.
Yeah.
This scene cements who Fuyumura is. That you sure she's weird, she's tall, she's gaunt, she's overbearing, but she's a broken kid at heart who doesn't fully understand everything just yet. And it's an incredibly sad and sympathetic scene for both of these characters. And that's something that I wish that people would talk a little bit more about, because sure, you can applaud and say, yeah, we got our Yuri moment. Great for you. But even more important is what this scene means for these characters. And it's not romantic. Instead, it's far more psychological.
Yeah. And like it outright points out that Ono is entirely focused on Fuyumura. Like she admits to herself, she's like, I don't care about any of these like gender differences that like people get caught up on. It's well, let me rephrase that. She's entirely focused on whatever gender Fuyumura is, which is to say that she's only interested in Fuyumura, and that's all that matters to her. And the fact that Fuyumura sleeps so much is frustrating because she's not able to be there and talk to Fuyumura. And I'm like, that is like a very precious, very wholesome form of love right there.
Yes.
Like, I mean, yeah, she has the dream, like, she's interested in going farther, but that's not like the important part of this. It's like this point that she's really interested. She really wants to like try to progress that relationship with Fuyumura is very touching.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's just been sad that it happens in this particular kind of moment, in this particular kind of way. Not just the principal, but that she feels that she needs to end it.
Yeah.
It just, again, goes to show how damaged these poor kids are with this whole dystopian world that they live in.
I mean, honestly, with the typhoon going on, there's no winter anymore, so like ice caps are probably melting. We're just on our way to Waterworld, and one of these kids that we've seen in the background is really Kevin Costner.
Yeah, I say it's the kid with the paper bag over his head.
I love it.
That's why he wears the paper bag, to show that he doesn't, to make sure that people don't see he's got the gills going.
Yep. Honestly, like the only character who didn't get any actual progression this episode was Amaya. Though Amaya really hasn't gotten much episode since much progression since like episode 2.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I know that we're going to get more of Amaya down the line. Like, it's not that he's forgotten, but again, this does kind of come down to some of my criticism from earlier about like how Amaya should probably be a little bit more involved in the story rather than the commentator on the story. But him being around though with Subarou and with Sanda trying to figure out how to bring Santa back, that is significant because Amaya, slight spoilers going forward, but like Amaya is really going to be the guy in Sanda's corner, going through a lot of different shenanigans from this point on. So it's not like he's been forgotten, but he's really has been brushed off to the side for right now. And yeah, it kind of sucks since he was set up to be one of the main characters. It's just balancing a cast of characters can get difficult, and sometimes a character has to recede to the background. The problem is that Amaya is always so much around that you would then expect him to be a little bit more participatory. There we go. There's the word.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because like we talked about in Dandadan with the crap, I'm forgetting his name. The Met guy.
Oh, with Quinta?
Yeah, with Quinta, how he has his role to play, but like he's not always going to be important, not always going to be like part of the main plot. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, especially when you're creating a story with so many different characters. Not all of them are going to be important at the same time, and that's fine.
All right, so with all that being said, we now want to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your insights into this episode. There was a whole lot to tear into, and in a good way, sink your teeth into it. If there's anything that we missed, we want to hear from you in the comments. And if you enjoyed our video here, then please make sure that you like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you especially want to help us out, please check out the books that we've published. Links for all of them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this crazy adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.
Okini.